What's up, guys? Hold on, oh my God, did I forget to connect these again? Well, whatever. The audio is good enough. I just wanted to pop on. I wasn't gonna do a live stream today, but then I heard about this situation with Rogan, and just first of all, it's not. I'm talking about Rogan a lot because we need someone to do the job that he's doing. I don't watch Rogan. It's not that I'm not interested. I don't. It's not like I'm a huge fan. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because he's the only sincere person I see out there on that kind of scale that is willing to at least do his best to tell the truth, even if it could get him killed. And I think that we really need to give Rogan credit for that. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. He has to be, he talks to conspiracy theorists and some of the crazier ones, right? And if he didn't at least think it was possible that they were correct, I don't think he would have them on his podcast, right? So I think he probably legitimately believes that he's no, he shouldn't have apologized. I agree that he should not have apologized except for one of the comments. But we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. One of the comments that he made was way too much, and he should never have said it. But some of the politics of this word are actually it's racist. It's basically racist, and we'll get to that. But I'm just trying to say that I believe that what Rogan is doing, the role that he is playing, is dangerous, and he knows it. He's trying to be sincere and do good, and that's more than we get from most people. And especially someone with that kind of platform. In fact, for those of us that have been fighting I can't even talk about it. You know what I mean? Fighting that. I can't even speak about it because my channel will get deleted. Right? True fact. I'm trying to figure out how I can say it so that you guys know what I'm talking about without getting deleted. Um, but the whole thing that he said that caused all the controversy regarding the medicine his doctor told him to take. Hopefully I can say that. Um, we would have no one really. You know what I mean on that side. And he was able to get that message out to millions and millions of people, probably hundreds of millions of people. And if people actually take the time to look into it, they realize that people should just be asking questions. It's pretty much that simple. So here's my problem with the N word. And, I talked about this a few weeks ago, but I'm going to say it all again because I can't talk about this without repeating myself a little bit. So for those of you that are regulars, forgive me for the redundancy. Also, by the way, I'm doing a secret stream on alchemy tonight. It's going to be good, and I'm going to tell you at least one thing I've never seen anyone say anywhere about alchemy ever. Uh, I can't find it, so it should be worthy. Um, yeah, I mean, the Planet of the Apes comment, that warranted an apology. That was, I mean, all humans are apes. I don't mind being called an ape, but I think there's some racial stigma that comes along with this. So that I was a little bit like, damn, Joe, really, but saying the N word in context, right? I'm tempted to just use it myself because I think it's racist, right? Um, it's here's the deal. I don't mind not ever saying the N word as a white male. It's fine, whatever. I don't need it. I have no use for it. It's no problem. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But then no one else can say it either. I don't care if you're black or not. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't say, we're allowed to do something because we have a certain colored skin and everyone else isn't. Especially if it's to the extent that context doesn't even matter. How does that make any sense to anyone? How is that just not, um, stupid? It's racist. It's racist. There's no difference between saying you can't use our word, but then saying you can't drink out of my water fountain. Um, it's mind-numbingly stupid. Um, you know, to I actually watched a black guy reacting to this, and he dropped like 67 n bombs in 2.5 minutes. while complaining that Rogan had made these comments that were all in context. He just, and I think that's why Rogan was doing it, and it's why I'm tempted to do it. I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to piss off any of my black viewers, but I think I know them a little bit. Some of the black people that watch this channel, and I'm pretty sure that they would not get mad at me. You know what I mean? Because I've had this conversation with a lot of black people, and I think it's actually increasingly, more and more black people are on board with this. If we're going to have rules in society, they have to be the same for everyone. They can't, it doesn't matter why either. You can't say, well, there was this shit that happened in the past and blah, blah, blah. No, man, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. Either we all decide it's a bad word and get rid of it, or everyone can say it. That's it. And my own personal experience, because I lived in Washington, D.C., which is like 90% black or something. I was definitely the only white guy in my neighborhood. And, so I had a lot of black friends, and sometimes it would be nothing but black people and me. And what actually happened the first time is I said to this huge gangster, like really legit gangster, covered in gold and diamonds and guns on the table. Actually, when you'd sit down, put the gun on the table. I was involved in some shady. I was 17, rented Mercedes with bulletproof windows and stuff. Yeah, I was terrified the first time he asked me to go for a ride across the city until, he reminded me that we were bulletproof. So, no problems there. And anyways, so we're sitting around, we're sitting around and smoking a blunt, and I said, "Hey man, pass the blunt," and the dude just looked at me. I'm trying not to say his actual name, and he's like, "Man." Like, what color is my skin? Like, what are you talking about? And I'm looking around the room. I got it right away. There's like 6 armed black guys that are all way fucking bigger than me. you know, I've seen a movie where this happened actually, and I thought it was a trick or a trap or something. Like, I, I didn't know if he was serious or not. And also growing up in the 90s, man, you didn't. That's one of the things about this thing with Joe. Like, he had to know better. It's at least that it's against the rules because he's not that much older than me. You know what I mean? By the time I was in high school, you just didn't say that shit, and ever, no matter what, context or not. Um, Not that I'm saying it's right, but you know what I mean. Like, he had to have known. But so I, with a, almost like a like a squeak in my voice, I addressed everyone with this word from that point on in this circle of people. And you know what happened? The barriers between us all went down because I was no longer the white guy. I was just another person that was there in this circle. And that happened in San Francisco as well with another group of friends of mine. And it is incredible the double standard with racism that we have because this guy who also basically said the same thing that this other dude. So I have an East Coast card and a West Coast card. So, and I still avoid It's like I feel like I could end some hip hop beef with those 2 cards. Eminem apparently got his from Snoop Dogg a couple weeks ago, which I'm sure he was thrilled with. He'll never use it, but it sounds like he did get his card finally. Um, so what was I saying? Okay, so this guy, a few days before this happened, we're walking down the street in the Haight Ashbury area of San Francisco, and he invites me in his house for the first time, and it was odd. I was a little bit surprised because the context that I knew him at first was business, I guess, and we did become friends eventually. But he brought me into his house, and his mom sees me come through the door, and she goes, "He don't never bring nobody in this house, especially not no white boy. You must be good people." And I was like, damn, can you imagine if I brought one of my black friends home and my mom said that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody even thinks twice about it. It's just a non-issue, because apparently white people are not a race or something. Um, basically, man, basically, it took some bravery with the first set of people. The other guy, he was, harmless, sort of. Definitely gang affiliated, but in the Haight Ashbury, the gangs are like really nice. You can just ask them for directions. Nobody ever gets shot on the hate. Rarely even, you might get hit in the head with a skateboard if you're selling drugs in the park, but that's usually going to be, one of the hippie kids that hits you with the skateboard. So, um, but yeah, I mean, everybody makes mistakes. I mean, I don't want to drag this out for too long. I want to encourage everybody to actually go to Rogan's threads on YouTube videos, TikTok, whatever, and actually say stuff. You know what I mean? Just put it out there that, this is not what matters is that Rogan means well, right? I have trouble believing that he's genuinely racist. And certainly not hatefully racist. I mean, people, whether you like it or not, you're going to have subconscious stuff that you have picked up from, living in this society. Uh, and also this idea, I kind of wanted to touch on this, that like, white people have some kind of horrible deformity in our brains that makes us just more racist than every other race. Racism is a universal thing. It's not just white people. It's everyone has issues. All of the cultures around the world, I believe, everyone that I have ever become aware of, I have seen or heard racism directly from the mouths of black people, Native Americans, indigenous people, Indian people, you know what I mean? Russian people, African people, you know what I mean? It's actually in our genetics to some extent because, you have like a tribal, that sort of familial genetic thing that served a purpose at one point in human history. Um, Yeah, I mean, and look, the fact that Rogan came out and said what he did, and then almost immediately we have this ninja video going around trying to derail him. So, again, I'm just really wanting to encourage people to just be vocal, get out there, tell people, be tactful about it. Don't be an idiot. Don't make yourself look like you're supporting white supremacy or something, because that's definitely not the point here. If it wasn't for black people in the United States, the United States would never have been as cool as it ultimately became. I don't know how anyone could possibly fail to notice that. The music and culture that grew out of the music, in particular, is what my life. I don't know what my life would have been if it wasn't for rock music and heavy metal, and that all grew out of blues and jazz. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's clearly stupid to be racist. Um, but honestly, it's racist to say that white people can't use a word regardless of context. You can't fight racism with racism. That's completely stupid. And I realize that most of the population was like brainwashed with the machine on the wrong setting, so it's like the brains got shrunk really badly. Um, and like stained, like the stains didn't come out; they were worked in there really well. Um, but it's true, and there's at least a few black people I've seen promoting this on TikTok because somebody made a video, some white guy, and he used this word in context that wasn't really that bad, and some black people started duetting with it and saying like, you know what? It's racist to say that people can't use this word based on the color of their skin. So they're actually pushing white people to start using ninja amongst each other, and the hope would be eventually with black people as well, because when that starts to happen, that's when we know that racism is really dead, right? And I've been saying this since the 90s, that when we start seeing like, black people and white people actually able to make fun of each other without anyone getting mad, and there's no malice in it, right? Like racist jokes that are actually hateful are not good, but racist jokes that are just funny and don't hurt anyone, black comedians do it all the time in rooms full of white people. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't, it's like it doesn't work that way or something. But it needs to. We need to get to the point where everyone is just comfortable in their own skin, comfortable with each other. Like, this may be an impossibly lofty goal, that everyone can be humorously racist, without getting canceled or bricked in the head or whatever. but but it's true. And my one friend, in that second group that gave me my card, uh, um, we would actually do that. We would get bored walking around San Francisco. I was pretty young, this is a long time ago. And we would just say the most horrifically racist shit we could think of to each other intentionally as we're walking by really stiff looking white people or black people that we knew would, black people. Here's the hilarious part. The black people were always way cooler about it. They would like laugh and stuff, and the white people would always be disgusted and angry. I mean, I just really wish people would start paying attention to each other as well and kind of notice this stuff. If the things that we were doing were working, we would not be in the situation that we're in as a society, right? And I think this is one of the hardest things for people to get through their heads. Like, the shit you have been thinking and doing is wrong. You actually have to change all of it, like almost all of it, or else, it's a crazy human tendency to, it's often wrongly attributed as the, excuse me, definition of insanity to keep doing the same shit over and over again and expect a different result, but it's actually stupidity. Um, and this is why, Einstein, who I believe that quote is attributed to, also said that the two most common things in the universe are hydrogen and human stupidity. You have to notice that the approach we have been taking has failed. And so when we go to re-engineer a new approach, it's going to raise some hairs because we have been programmed to believe that a lot of things that are wrong are right, and a lot of things that are right are wrong. And of course, it goes way beyond who can and can't use the N word, right? I mean, every time I censor myself, even I feel kind of stupid. Like, really can't say a word because I'm white, no matter the context. Like, you really think that's sane? You know what I mean? And that's going to help us grow together, and get rid of racism. Well, there is a certain hydro hose. There is a certain extent to which we have like tribal affiliation, genetically, I think, and sort of recognize our own species. And I think it's also easier for people to kill and harm things that don't seem to be the same kind of creature that they are. I'm not saying that we're genetically predisposed to have the kind of racism that, like, Hitler and white supremacists. Um, I'm just saying that I think we have some, biological disposition. It's an easy entry point to hatred. So it is something that we have to be on guard about and that we have to get rid of in our society. But we also have to get rid of all the hypocrisy. You know what I mean? That's the first step. We have to have reasonable approaches to this. And there are a lot of places where people are being silenced that have legitimate ground to stand on. They're saying things that are meaningful and important, but because of certain political trends, social trends, they're not able to speak. And this silencing, is being done mostly by people that think that they're helping, um, but they're not. Because if you cannot speak about something, uh, you know, sincerely and truthfully, you cannot have any hope of fixing it. And that's that's what's happening. A lot of the efforts, like the BLM thing that happened, and even the martyrs that have been chosen. I've talked about this before. They're just terrible martyrs. You could find, um, and let's pick this apart a little bit because it's an important one too. Um, for example, the Breonna Taylor case. Uh, when I heard about that, I was like, man, that's terrible. The cops ran up in this house and shot this woman who wasn't even armed. The media, for the most part, totally left out the fact that somebody actually shot a cop when they kicked the door down. If that happens, everybody in the house is getting shot. I don't know why they're acting like that's about race or that that's a surprise. And there was something like six ounces of cocaine that had been shipped to the with her name on it or something. Like, I'm not saying that she should have gotten shot. I'm just saying that once the cops kick down a door and someone shoots, everyone in the house is in danger of death. That's I would expect that. I'm white. I'm an outlaw. Like, I've been an outlaw my whole life. Any outlaw that you asked that knows anything about cops and guns and how they go together is going to tell you that if they kick your door down and someone in the house shoots, everybody's dead. They're just going to kill everything that moves in a split second. You know what I mean? That's going to happen. And then you spin this into a racial thing, and then you have the media on the left portraying the story but leaving a part out, and then the right notices they left this part out, and then they have a legitimate ground to stand on to accuse the left media of misrepresenting shit and creating narratives that aren't real and blah blah blah, and they are actually fucking doing it. That doesn't help anything. Doesn't help anything. Doesn't help anything. You know. And I got in trouble for posting FBI statistics because people were arguing about it, and they're like, "Oh, you racist." I'm like, I didn't create the statistics. You know what I mean? And those statistics are pertinent to the issue of, you know, police and race. Those particular statistics that I posted from the FBI, just to help them out, because everybody was just having this lame-brained argument. Nobody had any facts. But it really turned into a huge problem for me just because I thought, well, let's look at the data. What does it actually say? And what it said is this is a much more complex social problem than just racist cops, basically. You know? So, yes, we need to get rid of racism. My personal preference is to just breed the whole human race out of race. Like, get rid of it. Just the most attractive people tend to be mixed race, anyways. Everything in my life that I value is mixed race, basically. You know what I mean? The most attractive people are mixed race. The best music is generally made by musicians that have combined different genres, right? My spiritual inclinations are composed of bits and pieces of all sorts of different traditions and ideas from all over the world, syncretic, right? And so what you end up with, if you get rid of all the superstition and the baggage of culture and all of this stuff, and find little gems and stuff and mush it all together, then you get something better than what you had. This is alchemy, which we're going to be talking about on my patron only secret stream. Please do hit the like button, share, subscribe, support us on Patreon, because we're demonetized and I get nothing from YouTube. Can't even do super chat. And then there's ways to support us in the chat and in the description. PayPal, Zelle, everything I could think of it's there. I made it easy. So you know what I mean? Syncretic traditions. I'm drawing from everything. The music, draw from everything. People, draw from everything. You know what I mean? That's probably going to happen. I mean, scientists have predicted already that we're all going to look like Asians basically within 200 years or something. And good, because all the races do have different strengths and weaknesses. You know what I mean? We do have genetic differences. That's not racism. That's just facts. It's just facts. You know. I mean, there are certain people. If I needed to, if I needed a violinist, I'm probably going to hire an Asian violinist. You know what I mean? I'm just because I know that they started when they were 4 years old. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna get a Jewish accountant for sure. Like everyone, I mean, everyone knows that. You want somebody to balance your books? Jewish people are the people to go to. If I want a bodyguard, I'm probably gonna get a big giant black guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know what white people are good for, but something I would imagine. I don't know. Let's see. What do white people do really well? And then we don't really excel at anything. We're just a little better than average at a whole bunch of different things, I guess. I mean, it's just ridiculous to be racist because all the other races have something that they're better at than you are. But once again, you guys, I got to get off of here. I almost said out of here. I noticed nobody hit the like button when I no, the best at science. We're not the best at spelling, apparently. The best at science. I don't know about that either. Maybe, yeah, maybe philosophy. Yeah, okay, there you go. There's a good one. Um, but you can't say we're gonna say this word and you can't say the word because your skin's a different color. Can't do that. You can say don't call me that shit because I don't like it, and then people should agree to that. But to say you can't even say the word no matter what the context is, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? It's just stupid. And Joe Rogan shouldn't have apologized. That's what he should have said. He should have apologized for the apes comment. That shit was crazy. I can't believe he said that. Um, but the rest of it, he didn't do anything wrong. And I guarantee you that 95% of the people that are going to be upset with him are going to be white women, right? Most of the people that already hate Joe Rogan are just going to have more reason to hate Joe Rogan. But it's important that we keep Joe Rogan around as long as he's got, he could be up to 20 million viewers an episode by the end of the year. As long as he is out there promoting DMT and, getting a balanced point of view from opposing sides. And I mean, he's just got to not bow to the pressures on him, which are tremendous. I don't know if he has a family or not, because I would be starting to worry about them. Um, but yeah, you guys, that's it. I mean, I think there was something else that I really felt like I needed to put out there, but it has escaped me. So, uh, join us, the patrons, for the alchemy talk at 8 o'clock my time tonight. Otherwise, thank you. Support Joe Rogan. Go to his comments. Fucking blow him up. Let people know that they need to just stop being dumb and focus on serious problems. And when people's out there speaking the truth, when you have a corporate oligarchy basically censoring every thought you have almost, and we're almost at that point where they're going to let them put a chip in your head now, and I mean people are going to actually pay for this. Yeah, well that's true. Okay, so Europeans invent a lot of stuff. That's true. I mean, but anyways, you know what I'm saying. Like you can't do that. You can't. And basically, what's happening is that there is a sort of a justification or sort of a stamp of approval on being racist towards white males. It's totally real. It's not. We're not trying to act repressed or any kind of shit like that. It's just that it's a very dangerous direction to head in. It's not a solution for the racism that already exists. It's only going to encourage it. And I think that, people need to be a lot more suspicious of the narratives they're being fed because they all have a tendency to create monsters. All of these big mainstream narratives and even some of the alternative narratives really do seem designed to, like a wolf in sheep's clothing or a Trojan horse, where the intent seems to enter on the high ground, but then it's actually malicious and is designed to cause division. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of the racial stuff. And COVID obviously has completely torn families apart and shit. And if you look at how methodical it's been, the last election, the most divisive shit I've seen in my entire lifetime. And you know, and the candidates that the Democrats picked to fight against Trump, who they were convinced was pure evil, um, were chosen just to incite the right further, in my opinion, because they were the biggest pieces of shit that they possibly could have chosen out of all the people that they could choose. It seemed like it was deliberately done to incite people because there's no way it made sense from the point of view of choosing leaders that people would get behind or remedying this chasm in our society. It definitely had nothing to do with that, right? So that was deliberate. COVID is being used to divide and conquer. Race is being used to divide and conquer, and we just have to stand up and say, you know what? No more of this. We're not playing along. People have to be too smart to fall for this bullshit. So thank you guys again, and I am out.